Welcome to the InHer Circle podcast with MsHoliness, bringing you a dose of inspiration from the ground to greatness, starting now.
Welcome, wonderful people of purpose. So I am MsHoliness, and I am so happy that you all decided to join me here for the InHer Circle podcast, episode 12, entitled Now What? So just before we get started, I just want to do a recap of last month's episode. And yes, I said last month, you guys. You guys know that I'm doing an episode a month for right now until the New Year's hit, and then I'll do something a little different. With that being said, last month's episode was entitled, This Love Stuff is Demanding. All right, it talks about how purpose can get demanding at times, but nevertheless, you have to get it done anyway, despite what you're feeling and how you feel and what's coming against you and what obstacles you may be facing at the time. You still have to endeavor to roll up your sleeves, okay? Roll up your sleeves and get it done like a true soldier. As I first stated, today's episode is entitled, Now What? Now what? Now that you realize that even when this love thing gets demanding, that you still got to roll up your sleeves and get it done. Now that you realize that you are a person operating in purpose and that you got to endeavor to keep on going, whether you feel like it or not. Now that you know that some people's lives that are connected to yours depend on your voice, okay, depends on your strength. And then that you know that some people's lives are simply interconnected to yours vis-a-vis the last episode. Now that you know that it's because of your voice, your power, and your prowess that some people are still getting up with purpose, it's kind of like, now what? Like, now what are we going to do? Some of you in some instances have hit a pinnacle, okay? You've done some really great things in your careers, in your life paths, and in your purpose. And now you're like, now what? Like, what's next? What's next for me? And some people are still at level 1, and y'all still trying to figure out, how to get purpose up off the ground. And y'all like, now what? Like which way is up? Which way am I going? But to either audience, whether you're well along your way and you're waiting for your next big thing to hit, or whether you're still at ground level and you waiting to get up, period. I want you all to be encouraged, and I want you to know that in this season, it's going to be important, all right, as it has been in seasons past, to get strategy. To go and get strategy from your inner self. And for me, because I'm a Christian, I get my strategy from God. So I know some people are not Christians, and you meditate and you get your strategy from your inner self. And that was no shade, no pun intended. But I want you to go sit, okay, and dig deep within and get strategy, all right? You don't get your strategy from heaven, though you think, all right? Dig deep within and figure out what it is that you need to do to get your next move to move. Do you hear what I'm saying to you? And when I say your next move to move, figure out what's needed and necessary in order to be able to take your life to that next level in this up and coming season. Like, this is the end of November, you guys. And sitting here, retrospect, I'm like, dang, December is a few days away. This is November 26th. And for that cause, I'm like, all right, Adrian, you got to get your head back in the game. You got to come up with a game plan. But all the while I'm like, Adrian, you got to introspect and come up with a game plan. My spirit, all right? My spirit is telling me like, no, Adrian, you got to go get strategy from heaven. You got to go see God. You don't do things the natural way. So there's this inner conversation that's going on within me, a battle of wits, so to speak. It's kind of like, do I want to do things my way or do I want to do things the God way? But y'all know I'm always going to choose to do things the God way. That's why I'm MsHoliness. That's why I do things the way that I do it. I was called by God, set out and separated to do a work that is uncommon in this day. I've been tasked with a really dubious task in this day. I know that we have the church, okay? We have the church where people are in there preaching, they in there, spreading the gospel. They have a circle, so to speak. But with me, it's like I'm MsHoliness. I don't fit in the church and I don't fit in the world. But I have healthy balance nevertheless. And when I say I don't fit in the church, it's kind of like the church don't really receive me. They can't really get with me. I'm too different, all right? A lot of them feel like I look and maybe talk too much like the world. And then when, on the other side of things, people in the world, they kind of like MsHoliness, like, what's up with you? What's good? It's kind of like I look like them, I sound like them, but I don't move like them. And when I say I don't move like them, I move with a different level of integrity and character, okay? I actually display the attributes, the character and integrity that God has placed down on the inside of me that looks like God. All right. So I don't look familiar to the people in the world either. And maybe that might be the same reason why I don't look familiar to the people in the church likewise, because they're not on God's time. And when I say they're not on God's time, they're not on God's program. They're kind of doing their own thing. So it's not that, I'm so different and set apart that there's nobody else out here that God has on the same type of time. It's just that the people in the church is not on the same type of time that God got all the rest of his prophets and apostles on. It's just that, a lot of times it's hard for people to receive what they feel is different or change. I'm going to go to the Bible here with it. Even if some of you not believers, I know y'all probably heard these stories along the way. Everybody has encountered someone who's talked about Jesus or have heard about Jesus. He's very famous, all right? It's impossible to have lived anywhere in this world in all four corners of the earth and not have heard about the name Jesus, if it is the case that you have internet or if you have access to books and different things like that. Or just word of mouth, you know what I mean? So we know that Jesus was not received by his own people when he came. And that he had to witness that a prophet was without honor in his own house. And that's kind of like the witness that I got. In my family, I would say that I'm the white sheep. I don't call myself a black sheep because I'm full of light. There's no darkness here. So I'm like the white sheep in my family. I'm the one that got hollowed out and ordained and made specifically tailored for this generation of people. And it's kind of like, though the world look at me sideways when they encounter me because I look like them and I know how to use the slang like them, but then my speech is different. Like my speech, it gives me away because I'm always spitting and speaking some inspo and talking about inspiration and inspiring people to take their lives to the next level. I'm always encouraging people to do something different, to try something different. But before I get into that try something different thing, I want to go to a commercial break.
And now a word from our sponsors. Nerd Boy Rich Clothing for your hottest urban streetwear. MHW Creations, servicing all your literary needs. And Ace the Weave Doctor, hair extensions done right. For sponsorship opportunities, inquire within. And now back to the program.
So, yes, that was a word from our sponsors. And as I first stated, I wanted to get back on the topic of now what? Like, what now? What's next? But, yeah, you guys. So a lot of times when you've been called to greatness, a lot of obstacles are going to try to stand up and get in your way. Do you hear what I'm saying to you? And you just have to find a way. You just have to find a way. Always be finding a way how to work through those difficult moments, those difficult, challenging things, and just kind of keep thrusting forward. Yes, I use the word thrust because in a lot of seasons you got to use all your might and just thrust yourself to your next level. And you do it with God's help when you're a believer like myself. But if you're not a believer, you do it in your own strength, so you think. Look, and you notice I keep saying so you think. Because every good gift comes from above, from the Father of lights, where there is no variance. And the Father of lights is just simply God, okay? So I know a lot of times people like to say, oh, I'm doing this, or I'm a God, I'm a this, I'm a that. And I know we got a lot of people who are into New Age and different things, crystals and the occult and different things. So you guys probably think that you're making stuff happen on your own, manifest destiny and all that other stuff. But no, it's the Lord God who is helping you, whether you know it or not. And any and everything you're doing is only made possible because God is allowing it. Even if it is the case that you have made a covenant or a coven with Satan or the underworld or whatever you into, just know that God is allowing it. So for all cause, we give God all praise and he gets all the glory out of everything. So now I just want to take a moment, to digress and talk about what now? Now what? Now that you've written that book, now that you've spoken in front of your largest audience, okay? Now that you've produced a movie, now that you've gotten the college degrees, now that you've gotten married, now that you've had kids, like you're just checking everything off your list. It's like, now what? Now it's time to dream another dream. Now it's time to dream another dream. It's time to create some more. It's time to be greater, all right? So I feel like there are levels to greatness. Okay, I feel like you can go from the ground to good to great to greater to greatness. I feel like it's just so many layers to greatness, all right? So even when you hit greatness, when you feel like you hit that pinnacle, it's not a ceiling because a pinnacle is a peak. You can always keep building upon that and keep going up higher and higher and higher in a given season. It's just a matter of realizing what you can do and then in turn doing it, okay? I gave you all the witness a minute ago that I have a healthy balance and that sometimes people in my sphere of influence, which is the church, don't really receive me well because I'm kind of different. And likewise, when the people in the street see me, even though they receive me well to a greater degree than the church does, it's still like, wow, she looks like us. And when I say look, I just mean by my appearance. Like I'm dressed when I'm outside. I got the long flowing hair. I don't wear eyelashes and all that makeup and stuff, but my clothes is pretty much always on point and I'm very trending. So they'll see me and it's always a conversation piece. And I know how to talk the lingo because I'm really down and I'm still hip. Even though I'm a believer and I love the crap out of Jesus. And I mean, I love Jesus with my whole soul. I still got my ear to the earth, all right? still got my ear to the earth, which means I'm still in tune with what's going on around me, because I can't be so out of touch with what's going on around me, because in that case I won't be able to help people, and I won't be able to impact and affect the masses the way that I need to, and inspire them to the degree that I need to inspire them. So that's why it's important to be grounded, and that's all I mean when I say I got my ear to the ground, is that I'm grounded. All right, not really rooted in the world, but grounded there to the degree where I can still reach people and be relatable. And even though my life path looks a little different, and in the sense that even though I speak inspirationally and I write inspirationally and I coach people inspirationally and I counsel, that there's this Christian faith component to it. In this day and age, people ain't really with that. But because of how I present it, people are open to it. You hear what I'm saying to you? So a lot of times delivery is everything. So that's why I never feel like there's this ceiling, you know, when it comes to me moving through purpose and, you know, fulfilling my destiny here in this life. And I have those now what now moments where it's just like, all right, Lord, what we doing next? Those are normally my conversations. And then sometimes my inner self would be like, well, I think we should be doing this. But if it's really not advantageous for the season, then that's not what we doing. Because we want to do things that are advantageous as people of purpose, so that we can make sure we're always doing things that will take us to the next level of greatness. And not just us to the next level of greatness, but the people who we have been tasked to. But to the people that have also likewise been assigned to us, who we are a voice for and to, okay? So we always want to make sure that we're using right strategy when moving through purpose at any level. But especially when we get ready to take a leap of faith and go to a whole nother level. Because what we do not only impacts us, but it impacts those connected to us and those around us, all right, in the world without, who are looking over here at us to see what purpose materialized looks like. To see what it looks like for purpose to be made manifest and come to fruition. So that's the importance of doing things in a strategic way, and not just popping out there and doing things the way you want to do them with no real plan. All right. Even when it comes to me coaching somebody, you guys. So even when it comes to me coaching you guys, even though I'm on a sabbatical right now from coaching, I'm going to be taking more clients come January 2022. So keep that in mind. I am still currently doing spiritual counseling and inspirational speaking, and I'm writing all the time. You know, that's for life. That doesn't turn off. But yeah, even when I do get back to coaching, when it is the case that I'm coaching a client, before we even get started with their plan of action, all right, when they first come to me, I have this intense assessment process that goes on. And why do I do that? Because I need to know if I'm a good fit for you as a life coach, as a literary coach, as a spiritual coach, as whatever kind of coach you need me to be. I'm not one of those people who is just inclined to just take clients just because I'm like, oh, I need the money. No, that's not how I operate and deal. Because I want to make sure that there's an exchange here, and not just an exchange of currency when I'm coaching a person. I want to make sure that they're getting everything out of the program and out of the experience that they can quite possibly get in order for them to be able to take their life to the next level in each and every coming season. Now, I typically would just coach people for a year, you guys. And that's with literary coaching, life coaching, all that. I feel like after a year, because I'm not a therapist or a psychiatrist, I feel like after a year of us working together, you should be able to work the plan that I have overseen and help you produce, okay? And then if you need more coaching later, then you come back and you get a reassessment. But I feel like in that year's time, you should have gotten what you needed to be able to help carry you through that leg of your journey. See, some people will keep saying, oh no, keep coming back to coach with me. And those people are simply in the game for money, and which is the case. You go into any business for money. But for me, I went into this business for the love. I simply love helping people. I love inspiring people, and I love seeing people become everything that they never knew that they could be. Do that make sense to you all? So for me, it's so much more than just money. It's so much more than just getting to a bag. All right. I could have did that doing here and doing other stuff. This for me is so much bigger. This for me is so much more grander in the scheme of things. It's so much bigger than I am in whole or in part. You know, in the grand scheme of things, it's bigger than what I can see. So that's why when I'm coaching somebody, I give them all of me. That's why whenever I do anything, I give it all of me. But the most important thing that I do before giving anything in anybody, all of me, is I get strategy. Strategy is important for your now what moments, for your what now. And it's simply not a roadblock, okay? You stop and you say, what now? Now what? Okay, like now what? What now? Because those are the periods we're in where you need to regroup because your life is getting ready to go to a whole nother level. And it's really just a matter of how well you strategize and plan, all right, that will determine where your life goes in a new season, in a given season. So, and I know some of you are probably like, why aren't we hearing from you every week? I'm in the middle of transitioning. I'm in the middle of getting strategy from heaven, like I like to say. You guys, you know, I already gave y'all a disclaimer before commercial break that I'm a Christian and that all of my strategy comes from heaven. It comes from God. So for these past 2 months, you know, before we wrap up the year, this physical calendar year, because I'm already in my prophetic new year. Before we wrap up this physical calendar year, I got to finish getting the plans from God to figure out, you know, what's my next step. Just like you guys need strategy, I have to get strategy likewise. Because if I don't get strategy and I empty out and give everything out and don't replenish myself and build back up and get what I need, then I ain't going to be no good to nobody. Because if I'm no good to myself, I won't be good to nobody else. And that's something that I learned along this journey called purpose. All right. You always got to refresh yourself. And you got to sit down and figure out your what's next. All right. Not just what now, but what's next. And when you sit there and figure it out, you got to make sure you got to figure it out good. Because one wrong move could cost a lot. And I mean, literally, like I'm talking about money now. Like it can cost a lot. One wrong move. That's why you have to be intentional about getting strategy and listening and hearing. All right. Hearing, whether you are a believer or not, whether you know it or not, when you think it's just your inner thoughts, that's God speaking. And I'm going to keep putting emphasis on that, like it's God, all right? God's giving you ingenuity. He's breathing it on you because he said he reigns on the just as well as the unjust, which means the godly as well as the ungodly. So a lot of times when we think it's just our inner selves, our thoughts, which we do have that going on, we're not that clever, okay? We're really not that clever to just come up with mind-blowing ideas that wow people. So, as I forestated, every good thing comes from above, from the Father of lights, who is God, where there is no variance, which means God is unchanging. So the things that he's done of old, all right, with kings of old and queens of old, he is doing in this day with us, his wonderful people of purpose. I want all of you people of purpose to be encouraged, and I want you all towards the end of this physical calendar year to sit back and strategize, okay, so that you can have what you need going into your new year, so that you can make next year one of the most awesome, dope, amazing, excellent years of your life, where you begin to tap into and unleash more power and presence in your life and into the lives of others than you have ever done in your entire natural life. Well, with that being said, now we're just going to segue over into the hot button topic for this episode, and we're going to talk about Omicron. So Omicron is a new strand or variant, so to speak, of COVID. Now, they're saying that it hasn't hit the U.S. as of yet, you guys, but I'm under the sneaky suspicion, according to being spirit-led, that ain't all entirely true. And as a matter of fact, I think it has been here per se for like a month or two already. And I think that's why we're seeing an uptick in hospitalizations, all right? And especially in Michigan, you guys, there's been like an uptick in Michigan. We've seen California going array. We just see different places where the virus is starting to pick up like crazy. And everybody kept saying, oh, it's the Delta variant. No, it's Omicron. And I hope I'm saying it right, all right? They had a report that it was in South Africa, which I highly doubt and disbelieve. I don't think that's where it was picked up at. I think that they're seeing it over in like Europe, Australia, Indonesia, India, places like that. So I wish they would leave Africa out of stuff. But at any avail, this virus is in fact in the U.S., whether they are talking about it now or not. And I feel like in the coming days, they're going to have to actually spill the tea and let y'all know that, yes, it is here. It is deadly now. Y'all know that I'm a apostle prophet of the Lord Jesus. Aside from me doing this podcast, I'm MsHoliness, okay? And I ain't professing to be holier than thou, but I do hear clairvoyantly from the Lord, all right, from Holy Spirit. So from what I'm gathering and feeling is that in the coming of days, they're going to let y'all know that Omicron has hit the U.S., all right? And I don't know if any of you were following me throughout the pandemic when I was over on Facebook, foretelling events and giving these prophetic inclinations and predictions. But I forestated over there that it was going to really hit the West Coast first, all right? And that was with the coronavirus, period. I said it was going to sweep through the West Coast and make its way down. And directionally, we're going to hear about Omicron in California first, and then we're going to hear about it in the Midwest, and then it's going to come to the Eastern Seaboard, the East Coast, like it did last time. It's going to travel the same way. And in my opinion, it's coming from Europe somewhere or Canada. It's definitely not coming from South Africa, you guys. And I'm not going to say too much more about that. I just want you all to be safe. Keep using the necessary precautions such as hand sanitizer, masks. And I never stopped wearing masks. Even though I was tired of them, I just, I wear my mask wherever I go. And right now, my voice sounds really funky. It's because I got like a sinus head cold thing going on. The air quality here where I am right now is not the best. I just transitioned from one region to another, and I got to get used to the germs that are in this region. It's kind of like when you start a new job or you start working around elderly people or children or just anybody anywhere that you're not constantly around and having continual contact with. Your body has to build immunities for it, okay? So you might develop a little cold. And then, too, this could be a little stress cold because I got a lot of stuff going on right now that I'm trying to man all at one time. It's a lot. Y'all know that I'm very transparent, so I'm always keep it real with y'all. And this whole transition, this whole move is just weighty. And I'm like, all right, Lord, what's next? Y'all know I always talk to the Lord. So I'm like, all right, Lord, what now? But yeah, I'm just trying to stay out the way though, you guys. I'm trying to stand clear of Omicron, or however you say Omicron. It sounds like that. Look, Omicron. I'm so goofy. Omicron. Am I saying it right? I hope I'm saying it right, y'all. Omicron. I don't mean to make jokes, you guys. Let me breathe. Omicron, however you say it, is not a joking matter. And I need for you all, like I foresaid, to keep using necessary precautions to include social distancing, you guys. I don't care if y'all got the vaccine or not. I know y'all just heard about something where I don't know what athlete it was, but one of them got sick and they were vaccinated. They got blood clots or something. I don't know the young man's name, but you're going to be getting to see that a lot too. You're going to be getting to see a lot of athletes come out, like baseball players, basketball players. And this guy was a basketball player. And he's not a big name because I would have remembered that. But y'all know I'm not as much as the sports buff as I would like to be. Not. But you guys are going to begin, and this is not a joking matter, but I just keep having those punchlines. Y'all know I think I'm a little bit funny, lightweight. But you guys are going to begin to see a lot of baseball players, basketball players, football players, boxers, just athletes of all kind, and actors and actresses come out and be like, look, we did what y'all said, dude. We got this vaccine, okay, and we still got COVID. What's good? People are going to begin to come out and come forth. And also, you guys, I got a request. I don't never ask y'all to pray for anything, but I need y'all to pray for the city of Philadelphia, you guys. As it stands on today, I got this notification on Instagram saying that the city has hit 500 murders. All right, that is unheard of for the city of Philadelphia. Moment of silence for everybody who has lost a loved one to some tragic tragedy in the city of Philadelphia. Let's just have a moment, you guys. Solemn moment. Okay, yes, but as I forestated, please keep the city of Philadelphia in your prayers. And if you guys are wondering why I'm so concerned with Philadelphia, that's where I'm from. That's where I'm from. My family's from Philadelphia. That's essentially the city that birthed me. That's where I got my start, even though I was raised between Philadelphia and the suburbs of New Jersey, South Jersey to be exact. Philadelphia is always going to be the home team. I always tell a lot of people, when I go out and do public speaking, that I am a different dynamic. Like, some people were just strictly raised in the concrete jungles, but I had like the best of both worlds. If you want to call being raised in the concrete jungle, hold on part, the best of something. But I like to believe that I had the privilege of experiencing the best of both worlds. All right. So not only did I grow up in a concrete jungle for most of my life, I also had the privilege of, being raised partway in the suburbs of South Jersey. And then I lived in Elkins Park, Pennsylvania, but predominantly my rearings happened in North Philadelphia at my grandmom's house. And my grandmom's house was perfectly fine. Nobody was crack addicted, didn't have no alcoholics and no incest and no weird stuff going on. No shade to anybody who had those experiences. But I grew up in a Christian household with a great dynamic. Like, fighters for sure. Yeah, people who are friends with me on social media always hear me talk about how I came out of the house of the brawlers. All right. Whole house of aunts with their kids, and everybody were like vicious fighters. So that's as much as we did in our family. We prayed, we ate, we loved, we went to church together, we had Sunday dinners together, and we fought sometimes. We fought each other sometimes. But we came together to fight other people for sure, and always won. But everybody has a weird dynamic to their family. But the one thing that I can say about my family is that, like I said, I didn't have to witness crack addiction, my stuff being sold, not having food, not having lights, going without stuff like that. That just wasn't my North Philly story. And yes, I'm from North Philly, but I had like a really privileged life. I would say things kind of went downhill for me when I became an adolescent, when I tried to find my own way in life, took my own path, and was angry at God. That's like a recipe for disaster. But with all you guys, please, 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 please send the prayers up for the city of Philadelphia. And the youth, all right? It's not just the adults. It's the youth there. It's young as 14. You guys, maybe even younger. This is just what's being reported in the news. And I'm not watching the news per se, but I am connected to a page called 911 Philly. And it's kind of like the news, because they keep you in the know with everything that's going on out here in today's world and society in Philadelphia. With all you guys, please, 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 please send the prayers up for the city of Philadelphia. Well, that concludes our talk for today. Thank you for joining me for episode 12 of the InHer Circle podcast, entitled Now What? What now? With questions and comments, text 484-393-2730. Keyword InHer Circle Live. To connect with the InHer Circle, follow us on Twitter at the InHer Circle _, on Instagram at the InHer Circle _ podcast, and on Facebook at the InHer Circle podcast. For sponsorship opportunities, email us at inhercirclepodcast@gmail.com. Well, this is MsHoliness signing out. I look forward to you joining me for the next episode, where I aspire to lift you higher.